take a little bit different route here. Just no Tsunami, just stick with what's been working for them. RebelLion will be starting off with the first ban here. We'll see if they want to deny anything away from Snow Tsunami. It's going to be the Cruel.
So obviously they don't want to deal with that Cruel anymore. They saw him last game. He was always in the front. He was always chasing down like prospective like targets that were in the way of their team.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing a phenomenal job. Cruel definitely still being played in many compositions, but we're not seeing him banned or picked every single game.
No.
So I really like where Cruel is right now in the meta. Like he's a viable hero, but he's only being played when it really makes sense or when you have a phenomenal Cruel player. I think they did a great job with the last game. I mean, he was doing a great job just hanging out in bushes constantly, always applying that pressure. And then you saw, like, Troy, he was always constantly, like, a little bit farther back than he wanted to be. That affects his CS numbers. That's going to affect his ability to jump on an opponent very quickly for an aggressive kill, anything like that.
Well, even though RebelLion was very far back in terms of kills and deaths last game, they did a good job of keeping up with the CS. They were making sure that they weren't too far behind in the deficit of gold. And that was one of like the good things that they can point out. That's something that they could really work off and build off of, especially going to the second match.
Yeah, that's very important. Very important to keep those things in mind. RebelLion, they picked up the Finn to start. Snow Tsunami, they're like, okay, well, we'll just stick with this Fortress in the sky.
Yeah, well, Finn, I feel it's like a lot better in terms of like so much more benefits to the team, especially when you are going against a comp that has a Fortress as their roamer. He's just able to provide everything that the Vanguard does for Arden, but he has so much more in terms of he has that base damage output coming out of his abilities. That hurts Fortress a lot, especially when Fortress is always trying to dive in and make plays.
It does hurt Fortress a lot. They're going to pick up the Glaive, so this is actually pretty good. I was, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, Sky, she's very versatile, but we pick up the Glaive. It's a very nice way to control her. They've got the Ringo, they've got the Glaive, and Blackfeather going to be the last pick for Snow Tsunami. So do you think a composition has a strong advantage here?
I feel like it's going to be fairly balanced in the jungle, and it's going to be very dependent on this Ringo versus Sky, most likely. I do feel like they might throw Blackfeather in the jungle along with Fortress. It just works out really well for them that way. Plus, they are going to be going up against that Glaive. So, depending on how they decide to position themselves this game, it comes down to like the overall execution of the team fights.
All right, well, it's a game of mechanics at this point. Let's see who can execute better, guys. We've loaded into the Halcyon Fold, so we'll go ahead and jump in right now. And Action Jackson and X-Scoundrel, tell me what you think about these comps, guys.
Well, I'm pretty excited to see the Finn. It is my favorite hero, as I'm sure many people are aware. Mr. Teriyaki going to be looking to make some clutch forced accords on that, I am sure. On the flip side, pretty similar composition coming out from Snow Tsunami, although now No Life is going to be the one playing that Sky instead of PT Lamb.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a bit of a switch around here, and PT Lamb going to be onto the Blackfeather instead. Sky going to be in the jungle, which is an interesting move. They're going to allow her to roam with Fortress. Unsure how aggressive they can be. It's really going to depend on how many of those forward barrages she can hit and for how long duration that can happen, especially against a Finn and a Glaive as well.
Yeah, Finn and Glaive is like an unbelievably tanky duo in the jungle, at least early on. Especially after a few patches ago, Finn had his base health buffed by a tremendous amount. Also, Polite Company extremely strong at keeping people alive. That said, though, Fortress and Sky are going to have so much damage, so much mobility, and ability to just jump in there right off the bat, that maybe they can find a few kills. You can see already Snow Tsunami being quite aggressive, playing to that. We'll have to see if they can actually find themselves a kill as they do move in here towards the back camps. Troy and Mr. Teriyaki trying to play it safe, wrap around this tree here. That is going to be a quibble onto Sisiska. Does a lot of damage just on base at the beginning of the game. Troy going to have to afterburn away, though, as No Life uses that Surrey Strike to try and close the distance. Didn't land all of the forward barrage there. If he'd landed a few more, probably could have picked up the kill, but he is going to find the attack over the wall. Manages to pick up that first blood. Sisiska gets a quibble. There's a Polite Company trying to keep Mr. Teriyaki alive, but it's not going to be enough. Two very quick kills for Snow Tsunami is going to put them off to a great start in this game, too.
I really felt like both Glaive and Finn were far too defensive there. If they'd managed to jump onto Fortress and use her afterburn, knocking back into the quibble from Finn, then, chain that CC, see if you can output the damage. I mean, Finn's got fairly high base damages on his abilities. Okay.
Lane very nearly going down to PT Lamb there, but Troy, just in the nick of time, is going to arrive towards that lane. Encourage PT Lamb to back off his buddy. He does indeed do, but Slane's got to be careful moving forward.
Slane really, really in difficult spot right now. No life moving forward with this guy. Here is Sosiska as well. They're going to go searching for Glaive at this point, but won't find him, and instead just going to take away some of these black camps. But very impressed with this jungle Sky so far. Has definitely had an impact. 3 crystal bits, looking for a very early power spike with crystal power damage as well. So looking forward to seeing how far this one goes forward. It looks like it's going to be a Serpent Mask potentially first coming out from the Black Feather as well.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. Very common first pickup on that Black Feather, just to keep you fighting for as long as possible. Plus, your Rose Offensive applies basic attacks when you jump through people, so you can lifesteal a lot, all at one go if you actually jump through the entire team. Troy, though, might be getting hunted down here by Sosiska. He's actually doing a decent chunk of damage, even though he hasn't really built any damaging items. Troy in a bad spot, doesn't have the Afterburn just yet, is able to find it over the wall. Bleed stacks are going to force Troy to pop that potion too, so he is really struggling to get any farm in this early game, constantly forced out of his jungle, although Sosiska might have gone a bit deep. He is going to have some backup from No Life, which I think is a very good thing. He might have been collapsed on there had that not happened.
So some of these chases that we're seeing in the jungle really benefit the Fortress Sky combo. They are just so potent when the enemy is running away from them, because Sky can just use that.
Oh, the boots just barely managing to get him back to the turret in time. That was extremely close. Troy, on the other hand, very low. You see both these teams trying to set up some kinds of aggressive plays. Not too many working just yet. Slane is going to be able to stay well away from that death from above. Not going to get stunned up. No Life and Sosiska definitely having the better end of this early game aggression thus far.
Absolutely. I feel like that we've missed a trick here with Finn and Glaive being so defensive in the jungle. You feel like they could jump in, apply that CC, and usually win out. PT Lamb going very aggressive onto Slane, and Ringo taking quite a bit of damage in that exchange. This Teriyaki now, again, forced himself to look after Slane in this lane position.
And Troy is having such a tough time as well, constantly being forced back by No Life and Sosiska. Forward Barrage doing a lot of work there. Troy moving up towards the lane now, might look for the Afterburn onto PT Lamb, but Sosiska is nearby, could be dangerous. PT Lamb also worth noting, he's having an incredible time up against Slane in the lane. 31 CS to the 46 right now. You can really see PT Lamb forcing Mr. Teriyaki to play this lane support, although now maybe aggressing a little bit too much. Troy is nearby as well. PT Lamb, he's going to try and jump to a minion, maybe get out of here. He's got the Achilles shot down onto him. Troy picks up the kill with the Afterburn. That's what RebelLion have been looking for quite some time now. Finally managing to get their first kill on the board.
I feel like this has been a recurrent situation for the Lions, that they have lost so much pressure in lane that they have forced their roamer to spend most of their time babysitting their laner. And at that point, you're just going to lose the jungle because of how confident Snow Tsunami are. Oh, okay.
Sosiska, he tried to jump on Slane by himself there, and I think immediately realized it was a mistake. But we're also seeing Troy, Mr. Teriyaki get picked up by No Life on that jungle Sky. Managing to get a bit of a consolation prize after that early aggression failed. Now,
look at the level difference between
Troy here. He's going to find some forward barrage down, but not quite enough to pick up the kill. Maybe is able to just steal away this camp. In fact, he does. So, some good aggression coming out of No Life.
Yeah, but look at the level difference between the two of them. It's absolutely ridiculous. Troy, who should be the jungler here for Lions, has got a 4-level disadvantage compared to this jungle Sky right now. You know, PT Lamb has got similar level to his lane opponent, and Sosiska and Mr. Teriyaki are pretty similar, but the real difference is in this jungle, and like I said, it's been due to the fact that they missed the trick earlier on to go aggressive as Finn and Glaive. You know, they had the CC, they have high base damages, they could have potentially won some of those smaller duels, but they got caught out when they were forced at that jungle, and they went in through a chase, which will favor Sky because of that forward barrage. You know, she can just deal huge amounts of DPS to you if you're running away. And then, for follow-up that, Black Feather, PT Lamb, was just winning this lane single-handedly, and that forced Mr. Teriyaki to do what he did last game and spend a lot of his time in that side brush just looking after his laner, which then gave the ability for No Life and Sosiska to roam as a duo, completely dominate the enemy jungle, and you can see that's resulted in Troy just being leaps and bounds behind right now.
I mean, up until a moment ago, Troy was actually lower level than his roamer. That's insane, but that's a force the cord onto 2 people. PT Lamb gotta use the Rose Offensive to get away. No Life dealing some nice damage on the backside with the forward barrage. even when Troy hooks 2 people under turret, RebelLion can't capitalize. That speaks volumes.
Well, you always say that Rose offensive should be named Rose defensive because we do see it more often in an ability to escape from sticky situations, and that right there, PT Lamb found the perfect opportunity to do so. They're going to go in the offensive again here, but Afterburn should knock him away, but they're going to keep going, Jackson.
Oh, Forward Barrage is dealing so much damage on Mr. Teriyaki. He is very immobile on that Finn, unable to get out of that situation. It turns out that you didn't need a stun even though you couldn't stun the Finn. Very nice damage out of Tsunami. 4 kills to 2 right now with a 2,000 gold lead at only 8 minutes. They're really commanding this early game. Troy might be getting caught out here by PT Lamb, though he's actually afterburned sort of the wrong direction here. Eats a scout trap too, so Siska's waiting in the wings. Troy, where is he trying to go when he does that play? He wants back camps, I guess, but that's just not going to happen.
No, you need to be taking stock of where you are. I know you've lost your entire jungle, but the best thing you can do is sit in lane. I wondered even if it was worth him just picking up an Iron Guard contract in the earlier point in this game, just because of how far behind he was. And the fact that he was losing all of his back camps, maybe an Iron Guard contract would have been okay. It's not too bad to just pick one up. At least you then generate some form of gold income. Oh dear.
That
Mr.
was
Teriyaki.
a nice attempt, Mr. Teriyaki. You got to admire his spirit.
So it looks like we're getting an alternating current Ringo here, Jackson. So this is going to be kind of played a similar kind of way to Vox, I suppose. Not exactly a full Hellfire Brew Ringo. This is going to be more of a CP
Troy,
auto-attack Ringo.
hang on a second. Look at this. Even under his turret, he's really struggling to get away. Just barely able to get out there. Siska didn't want to commit fully to the dive. But yes, returning to your point earlier about Slain and the Crystal Power, later on in the game, it is a little bit more potent maybe than Weapon Power Ringo if you can find the big Hellfire Brews. But I guess he felt like he needed to go for the alternating current to do some more in the mid-game.
Exactly, so he hasn't gone that Hellfire Brew Ringo that we usually tend to see, where they sort of go full crystal power, see something like a Shatterglass and just attempt to do as much damage with it as possible. He's really trying to play that sort of CP auto-attack based carry, a bit like Vox, which, you know, unfortunately Ringo just does a worse job of it than Vox, but has... Oh, okay, we're getting a bit of an engage here as well.
Yeah, Slain capitalized on right now, but the damage isn't quite there to finish up the kill. Mr. Teriyaki with the Fountain of Renewal doing a good job of keeping him healthy. PT Lamb hasn't quite hit critical mass yet. He's very strong, but he's not strong enough to just go in and absolutely wipe through Slain.
Yeah. He's picked up a Shiver Steel, you see, so he's kind of more utility at this point. There's a lot of weapon power tier 2 items sat in his inventory, but he's yet to upgrade the one into a potent tier 3 item. So right now, just sitting on that Shiver Steel, looking to, I guess, slow down Slain as much as possible and allow the what looks like a Shatterglass first item no life just to be able to pound in with that forward barrage.
All right, well, we've got the turret siege coming through from Snow Tsunami. They're trying to take some objectives now, which, considering they have quite a big lead, is a good plan. You know, they don't actually have any turrets yet, 4K in the lead, but Mr. Teriyaki and Slain doing a decent job of repelling that push, even without Troy. But PT Lamb, he's got to be careful here. A little bit lower on the health value. No life as well, backing away just to take some back camps. Teriyaki and Troy, they're maybe getting a little bit big for their britches here, starting to go for an invade. Siska's gonna spot it out, jump onto Troy. Fort Barrage just uses it as on cooldown for no life, and there's the afterburn away. Troy knows that he needs to play it safe, but PT Lamb finds himself a kill 1 versus 1 in the lane without Mr. Teriyaki to help. He is easily able to secure that. Now Mr. Teriyaki, speaking of which, going to be in a bad position too. He just has no way out here. Doesn't have any utility that's going to help him, any mobility to escape. 2 quick kills for Snow Tsunami. They're looking extremely dominant in this game too, Excoundrel.
Absolutely, Ringo just caught out by the Shatter Steel. Black Feather there, who still hasn't finished a tier 3 item. Looks like Goldmine is going to be the target. I'm not sure how stacked that is. I think it's pretty stacked. There could be a 300 Goldmine going down, 208. So pretty 2/3 of the way there. But PT Lamb doing well to pick up a singular kill. I'm just wondering how well this alternating current Ringo is going to actually scale. Because we know that the weapon power Ringo is sort of like the classical early to mid-game weapon power carry champion that we generally tend to see. We know that the Hellfire Brew Ringo, where you basically go full crystal power, has its place. But how does this alternating current Ringo do as the game goes on? Because realistically, they're going to seriously lack damage output because they have a Finn and a Glaive. You know, you're going up against a Blackfeather and a Sky, you're going to just get outclassed in pure damage output at this point.
Yeah, I have to admit I am kind of concerned for them. I feel like, obviously, Twirling Silver is going to give you a nice boost of attack speed that synergizes super well with Alternating Current. But that's more of a mid-game spike. Like, that's a spike that you obtain right as you pick up the Alternating Current. As you get to the later stages of the game, yeah, Broken Myth is going to be a big item, but, you know, at the point where you get a Shatter Glass, it's less impact than it was if you rushed it and just had big Achilles shots and big Hellfire boosts. We've just seen the Crucible now picked up for Sasiska. That's obviously a brilliant item against the Forced Accord, if you can time it correctly. And Mr. Teriyaki going to be looking for that right now. No Life does get hooked in, but PT Lamb has his back, jumping right onto Slane, trying to keep this fight going in their favor. Sasiska running on the front lines. So far, neither team able to do much more damage than the other. Turret really helping out, playing the fourth member of RebelLion's team. But it has given Snow Tsunami great positioning to come in here, steal away some back camps, and maybe a minion mine as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where Lion can fight at this point in time, because it just feels like they're not doing enough. Hellfire Brew comes through.
Does a decent chunk of damage on No Life, but maybe not as much as he would have liked. PT Lamb using that Rose Offensive to just juke around in this fight, avoid a lot of the damage. Troy, he's not going to have very much right now. Mr. Teriyaki is going to go down. It's the ace coming across for Snow Tsunami. 11 kills to 2. The scoreline isn't so dissimilar from what we saw last game.
Yeah, I just feel like this is a pure outclass by Snow Tsunami right now. This Sky pick has been absolutely influential in terms of damage. This Blackfeather was the perfect pickup to try and deal with this Ringo. And I'm not sure if this Alternating Current Ringo build was the best. I mean, you realistically, a full weapon power Ringo may have been ideal, just in the sense that you want to abuse that mid-early spike. Glaive very good in the early game, Finn pretty good in the early game too. You just try and abuse that spike. You've got huge amounts of CC between maybe the sort of 8 and 12 minute mark. Weapon power Ringo sort of turns on. Maybe you could have snowballed out of control from that point. But at this point, this Alternating Current, the Broken Myth only just finished. It just feels a little bit too late at this point, Jackson.
I honestly feel like maybe just compositionally, RebelLion made a bit of a misstep here. You've got so much tankiness, not enough damage. Troy, look at this, even though he's meant to be a bit tankier, getting wiped out by PT Lamb and Sasiska. No Life does a lot of damage right now as well. Mr. Teriyaki, we've seen it time and time again. He has no way out of these fights once he's in them. And Slane can't afford to stay close enough to deal the damage. We've only got 2 turrets left standing. Snow Tsunami is melting through all the moments of RebelLion. At this point, I don't see any way for them to come back. In fact, we might see Snow Tsunami just try and look to end the game here. 14 seconds on Mr. Teriyaki. Troy's only on 3, but he's not going to have any impact by himself. Snow Tsunami in a dominant series, taking the 2-0 up over RebelLion for our first series of the day for the EU round of 16.
And I feel like you picked up a point that was really crucial right there, Jackson. That this was a compositional error, in my opinion, from RebelLion. You have a Finn and a Glaive very early on at this point, and they just seem like the perfect pair to do some peel for essentially a hyper carry. Now, I'm wondering whether they were trying to turn Ringo into a form of hyper carry with that Broken Myth Alternating Current build, a little bit like you'd see a Vox perform, but Ringo just isn't mobile enough, especially going up against a Blackfeather, to fulfill that position. You know, there were no Crucibles or anything to stop, you know, or at least give Ringo the opportunity to escape or block abilities. You realistically needed someone that was a little bit more reliable going into the later portions of the game. I can't remember if Scarf was actually banned there. I know it was banned in the first rotation, but I think Cruel and Adagio were the bans during that during that hero select. So maybe Scarf would have been a better option there, Jackson. I don't know.
I certainly feel like it would have. I mean, I guess maybe they just kind of tunnel visioned on the idea that Glaive is an early game hero, but in any case, to break down that composition a little bit more, we've got the guys back at the lair. Humanist and Rome, take it away.